today we are going to learn how to chain with our hook. So let's do this now. Let's quickly remember and revise how we hold our yarn in our left hand. Around the fourth finger, around the second finger, and holding with third finger and thumb with the tail end right here. Then we have our hook, and I'm going to hold it with this scooping technique here. Third finger directing the hook, and second finger and thumb holding the hook steady. Now you can use any size hook depending on the thickness of your yarn. So this here is a 4-ply yarn. With the hook, I'm only using a 1.9mm hook here, but feel free to use up to a 3mm hook. And if you have chunkier yarn, you'll need a thicker hook as well. All right, so what we're going to learn right here is the slip knot first. We need to be able to make a slip knot in order to continue chaining with our hook. So I'm going to teach you now how to make a slip knot. What you will do is, here's the yarn. You're going to make a circle with the yarn, having the yarn crisscross over right here, and you'll put your thumb right on that X, leaving a circle or loop right there. So that's the first thing that you need to do. The second step now is to insert the hook through the loop. So let's insert that hook through the loop. Third step is we are going to grab this yarn and pull it through. And when I grab this yarn, I'm going to have the yarn over my hook. So did you see that? I'm putting my hook like so that the yarn goes over the hook. And if you can see the hook right at the tail end here, this part, that has to capture the yarn. So I'm keeping it face downward, as you can see, and it's going to capture that yarn, and then I can pull it through my loop like so. Okay, so once we've done that, then I'm going to grab the loop on the hook with my third finger in my right hand. So I'm holding it steady here, and this is why we call this a directing finger, or I'm calling it that anyway. So I'm going to hold it here, and then we can see the tail down here, which we are going to pull that nice and tightly, and there we have. And if you just expand this, you can see we have now what's called a slip knot. And from this point on, we can now continue chaining. So you can see I just wrapped my hand around, wrapped it again, keeping that position in my right hand ready. But now, instead of holding the yarn here as we did at the beginning, I'm going to hold the yarn right here at the base of this slip knot, and this will keep my yarn steady with enough tension all the way through. So again, wrapping my hand around, second finger, third finger and thumb will grab the base of this slip knot here. Not up here, but right at the base here. Not down here, right here. And now what I can do is start chaining with this hook. So I've got my third finger on top of this loop here that's left on the hook. What I'm going to do is continue pulling the yarn through like I did at the beginning. So I'm going to wrap the yarn around the hook and pull it through, keeping that hook down. Let's do it again. So that's one chain that we have. So I'm slightly moving now my third finger and thumb in my left hand up the chain as I go along. I'm going to pull the yarn through that next loop, keeping the loop not too loose and not too tight either. So just the right amount of tension all the way through. You want to keep these loops nice and even. So let's pull the yarn through again, pulling through, move my fingers up, pulling through, move my fingers up, pull the yarn through again, through that loop, all the way up, and continue chaining like so. And you can chain as much or as little as is required. If you're reading a pattern or making something, you can just continue chaining and you get faster and faster. Sometimes I can even chain 3 or 4 before I move my left hand up to meet that center point so it's nice and stable. Move it nice and up. So you see how my third finger kind of lets go of the hook sometimes as well, but then it jumps right back on it. And when I'm finished, I'll move that third finger to touch the top of the loop that's left on my hook. And as you can see, we have some pretty nicely even chains right here. So that is how you chain your yarn all the way.